amuses me the fuss we make about men. A woman can dress up, dress down, not dress in anything at all to attempt to attract even some attention. And yet history will favor the accomplishments of our husbands, fathers, and brothers more than that of us. My brother Paul's work sometimes focuses on nude portraits of women. He's adored for his work. If I were to attempt the same, I wouldn't be remembered long enough to make history. So, I mold my own path, balancing the intricacies of art and criticism to embed myself in the Canadian identity. I'm sure you've heard of my brother Paul. Paul Peel. It's quite a fun name to say, actually. Each name beginning and ending with the same letters, Paul Peel. I never liked my name. Mildred Peel, Mildred Ross, Mild Red. If I could have named myself, I would have named myself something bold. Passionate Red. I was anything but mild. Titles get too much clout as it is. For once I married my husband, my name, of course, changed from Peel to Ross. My husband, George Ross. And then again, when he was knighted, did my name become Lady Mildred Ross. How can one keep up with such changes? If ever you hear my name, it's probably followed by my brother's. But there is a tale of two pieces I did, where I stood out from the rest of my family. The first story is of the bust I made of Laura Secord. You may associate her with the chocolates, but her accomplishments did not involve sweets. During the War of 1812, after hearing that Americans were planning a surprise attack, she traveled over 30 kilometers through swamplands and enemy territory to warn British soldiers. Although she was not recognized for her efforts, her story lived on. It's theorized she wasn't recognized to protect her identity, but if I'd done something that heroic, I'd want to be remembered. Safety be damned. I'm commissioned to create a series of portrait busts for the Provincial Educational Museum at the Normal School in Toronto. Not only is the bust of Laura Canada's first public memorial dedicated to a woman, but it's also made by a woman as well, a shining accomplishment for women everywhere. With the bust of Laura, I capture the strength of her character, but also her delicate features. I'm glad this project is mine. I can only imagine what it would be like in the hands of someone else. But if we are all granted one fault, I would say that mine is that monstrosity of a portrait that I'm commissioned to design years later. Once again, of Laura Secord. The bust is my best work. The portrait haunts my legacy. This is the second story. I've been trying to sell a painting that I've created of my husband, George Ross, to the Ontario Legislative Assembly. But they don't buy it. I'm feeling rather bitter about the whole ordeal, and choices are made that otherwise should not have been. Instead of using fresh canvas, I paint over my husband's face, beard and all. Mind you, this was before he was my husband. And having no real muse to work off of for the painting, I find inspiration in my mother, a proud and fragile woman. Although there is a world of difference between proud and fragile and strong and delicate. So, the portrait has the forehead of my future husband and the eyes of my mother, and really does not resemble much likeness to the true muse of the painting. Although I still think it does. I believe there to be some idealization of Laura. People want to believe that she stayed young. But we all age now, don't we? The bust is youth. The portrait is wisdom. No one quite likes a wise woman, do they? Years down the line, long after I'm out of the picture, when the painting starts to wear, This beard appears and makes a mockery of my work. But if you want to talk about provocative, while my brother is painting naked girls, I'm painting bearded ladies. There's something to be said about artistic choices. If I could title the painting now, I think I would call it Portrait of Existence in the Shadows. You can only hope that your work will live on past you. But maybe someday a woman will come along who will paint a portrait of me or write a poem, who will remember my contributions too.